The script source content security policy directive is a good example of one of the blocking directives. There are other blocking directives as well, like style source and others. In these directives, we declare the directive itself and then a list of trusted sources where the resource is allowed to load from. And this is all with respect to the current domain. So right now, in this application, the domain is matilda.local, so these sources are in reference to that. So we have the self directive, which allows us to load scripts from this domain. We've also specified matilda.local here, which in this example is a little bit redundant. It's the same as saying self, but this could have easily been a partner domain, or it could have even been a subdomain like api.matilda.local or admin.matilda.local, or whatever the case may be. And we also have this nonce declared as a safe source as well. We'll take a look at the nonce here in a minute. So in this policy, we're saying that scripts are allowed to come from essentially us, our domain, or this special case, the nonce. If we look at the JavaScript behind this page, we'll see that the JavaScript has intentionally been moved off into JS files to be included. In other words, we've removed the JavaScript from this page. And we've done that quite intentionally because in order for the browser to enforce content security policy, it has to know when JavaScript has been injected into the document. And if we are putting scripts inline ourselves, then the browser is not going to be able to baseline the document. Now, let's take a look at an exception case. So there was one piece of JavaScript that wasn't removed from this page down here near the bottom. And what this script does is it actually loads some of the content, creating an event listener for the back button anchor. And whenever this is clicked, then this JavaScript document.location.href fires off and redirects the user. Because this JavaScript wasn't removed from the page, it has to be tagged so that the browser knows that this particular inline script isn't originating from an untrusted source, but it's actually coming from the developer. In this case, the nonce was used. So the application will create a cryptographically secure random number on every request and send it back in the response as part of the content security policy. It'll also put a copy of this number in the nonce attribute of any scripts tags that are going to be included in line. The browser can match the nonce declared in the content security policy against the one declared in the script tag and make sure they match. Since this random number is never repeated, then there are not going to be collisions. It's not technically impossible for the number to repeat, but that's why we need to use a cryptographically secure random number, because statistically speaking, a secure random number is not going to repeat. So now the browser knows the safe places that JavaScript can come from. So what happens if JavaScript comes from somewhere else? For example, what if a cross-site script is injected into the page? So let's say we had a script that tried to read the contents of the cookies on the page. So we write our script, and let's go to a page that doesn't have content security policy protection just to make sure that the injection works. So the script works. We go back to the page protected by content security policy. We inject it. And this time, The browser knew that the script was not coming from one of the sources that's allowed by content security policy, so it automatically blocked the script. You can see a message indicating such if you look in the web console. The other blocking content security policy directives work in a very similar way. Style source, image source, and so on. You declare a list of domains, including the current domain, where content is allowed to originate from if that type of content shows up from anywhere else, including inline injections, cross-site scripts, and other domains, the browser will block that resource from loading.